The year is 1991 and film cameras dominate the market, but there's a camera coming onto the scene that's going to be very interesting. But first, let's talk about this poorly generated AI character named Alex. Alex is a photojournalist, and not a very happy one at that, because he just got fired from his newsroom job because he completely botched all of his rolls of film. And when you screw up on film, there's no coming back from it. Down on his luck, Alex gets a call from a friend at another newspaper, and he says, "Don't worry about ruining any rolls of film anymore." And Alex is a little bit confused by that. Alex has no idea what he's talking about until he gets handed this very interesting looking camera. See, it was the Kodak DCS-100 based on a Nikon 35mm SLR body. This digital camera had a 1.3 megapixel sensor and could take up to a whopping 156 raw photos. And it saved to that thing. That weird CB looking radio thing. That's the 1991 equivalent of an SD card. See, Alex had never seen a camera like this before, and the newspaper spent a retail price of around 20,000 USD on it, which, adjusted for inflation, is about $47,000 today USD. So really it begs the question, how did digital photography beat out film photography, especially when the cameras were that clunky and expensive? Well, before digital took off, film dominated photography. You had super sharp 35mm stock, medium format monsters, and decades of refined color science baked into emulsion. And early digital, it was basically putting a lens on a potato. We're talking 0.3 to 2 megapixels, terrible dynamic range, noisy ISO above 200, battery life measured in, God, I hope this stays alive for the rest of the shoot. And the memory cards were just a joke. Objectively, film wins here, but it didn't. When it comes down to it, convenience is king here, and digital photography was all convenience. See, the moment digital became unstoppable was when you could take a photo and then view the photo instantly. You didn't have to ship it off, get it developed, get it sent back, and then gone to print. You just had it. And for Alex, this was life-changing. No more praying the lab didn't ruin his shots. No more sleepless nights over exposure. One glance at the screen, and his front page photo was perfect. This was game-changing for beginners and for professionals. But at this time in 1991, it was just mainly professionals buying these. No consumer would go out and spend $40,000, $50,000 on a camera. This was all newsrooms and professionals. But the tides were changing. Because even though you spent all that money, you're no longer spending money on rolls of film anymore. It's spending money on getting it developed. See, film has a tax. You pay for every single shot. With digital, once you're done with your upfront costs of buying the camera and the equipment, that's it. That's it. No chemicals, no lab, no scans, no bullshit. Digital erased all of that. From pros shooting weddings, sports, journalism, going digital meant saving hundreds to thousands per year. And Alex used to burn through 10 rolls of film covering a protest or a race. Digital turned that $150 days into nothing. Economically, digital just made more sense. Now, old computers were crazy slow, but they were evolving. And same with digital cameras. They were just getting better every year. Even with those super slow computers, digital was still faster. Like, sure, you had to sit down and wait for stuff to load on floppy disks or whatnot, but it was still better than packing it, shipping it, waiting, getting it back, scanning it. It's just a lot. There was no scanning, no darkroom. You had immediate visuals, instant delivery for the newsrooms. And in cases like that, speed matters. And for Alex's editors, that was everything. Instead of waiting hours for film, they now had it instantly. Digital was faster, so the absurd early startup costs didn't really matter. And as time went on, the digital ecosystem just exploded. Once cameras became more like computers, everything changed. Faster memory cards, raw files got better, color profiles, metadata, the ability to delete and reshoot. It formed an ecosystem that film could never match or catch up to. Alex could tweak white balance in fluorescent lit rooms, recover highlights with blown out police lights, push shadows in dark alleys, things that were extremely time consuming and outright impossible with film. Digital didn't need to be perfect, it just needed to be flexible. And as digital got cheaper, people didn't really pixel peep. They didn't really care too much. They wanted convenience, and they wanted to be able to take pictures of birthday parties and their family gatherings and loved ones and their pets and crap like that. They didn't really care about exactly how sharp it was. They just wanted the memories. Digital made it so they didn't have to worry about carrying around rolls of film anymore. They didn't have to worry about picking the right ISO. They didn't have wasted exposures and throwing money down the drain because their kid just fired off a bunch of photos randomly. And even Alex noticed, every day people were suddenly taking hundreds to thousands of photos. That demand pushed digital innovation even faster, which directly helped professionals like him. And here's the kicker, around the mid-2000s, it was kind of done for. Digital had won, it had wiped out film. It wiped it out in resolution, dynamic range, speeds, low light performance, autofocus, lens innovation. Like even today, we're still getting new features that just are insane. And once that quality gap closed, that was it. Film wasn't just done, it was destroyed. It pretty much collapsed overnight. Kodak went out of business. They went bankrupt. A once giant of the industry, now nothing. And for Alex and thousands of others, this was the turning point. He wasn't fighting digital anymore, he was relying on it. Digital didn't just save his job, it helped him excel at it. And film isn't dead, it's just a creative choice now. I still shoot with film from time to time. You have a more slowed down, intentional workflow when you're using film. Today we shoot film because of how it feels, not because of specs. I know this video is a bit different than what I normally put out, but hey, I wanted to try something different. And if you're new here, subscribe. I'd love to see you back here hanging out in another video. And check all these videos out. They're all photography related. It's all different. Just check it out if you feel up to it. And yeah, that's all I got for you. Have a good one. Peace.